Hi, Jillian G here. I'm just going to talk a little bit about my unit plan, the text that it's centered around, some activities and ideas that I would like to see in my unit plan, and the lesson plan that I've submitted. So my unit plan will be for sixth grade, um, so middle school. It will be centered around the text The Devil's Arithmetic. For those of you that don't know that text, it's basically about a girl from present day that like mysteriously gets transported into the time period of the Holocaust. She's actually a Jewish girl, um, and in present day she's celebrating Passover with her family, and she's around 12, so she is the same age as the students that will be reading it, so they can relate to her in that way. And she is very um, she has very strong feelings about Passover, and why she has to celebrate it, and she thinks it's boring and there's no reason for it, and she just does not understand the Jewish beliefs at all, and she just really doesn't want to have anything to do with it. And so she gets magically transported back in time, and she becomes part of the Holocaust, and she is a Jewish girl in a concentration camp, which turns out to be somebody that her great aunt actually met when she was in a concentration camp. Um, but she goes through all these horrific things. Um, and I think that the middle schoolers will really, not that they would be able to relate to it because they definitely will not, well, at least most of them, hopefully. But I think that, it will really interest them to see the different sides of humanity. There are many people in the book who are very brave and kind hearted and sacrifice themselves for others. And then there are really terrible people who do horrible things to others. Um, so it's interesting to, present that to a young group of kids and see their take on it, and how they express themselves when they hear about it. Um, a lot of middle schoolers might not have much background on the Holocaust, so my lesson plan that I've submitted has to do with building that schema, the new schema, as Smith says, that you need to build new background knowledge if kids don't have it. Not that you should assume that every student in sixth grade will not know about the Holocaust, but there will definitely be some that either don't know anything or don't have much knowledge on it. So my lesson plan will be kind of a mini research project, and they'll be working on Chromebooks in the classroom, and everyone will have a topic about the Holocaust or about the Jewish faith. That just topics that basically come up in the story that they need to have background knowledge about in order to really fully understand what this girl is going through. Um, and so they'll each be assigned a topic, and I will be providing the source that they go on to research the topic. They'll have to write a summary about it, some interesting things that they found about it, and they will actually have to cite their source. So they're learning a bunch of different things. In addition to writing on the research project form, they will be presenting their findings to the class. So the students will be learning from them the topics that they'll see in this book, rather than me regurgitate to them the information they need to know, which I don't feel is very helpful. I think students generally learn better when they're learning from their peers. For some reason, they seem to pay attention more. And at the end, at the end of each presentation, I'll let the students ask questions to the person that presented. I've done that in the past, and it's surprising how many people ask questions and want to know more. And it kind of brings them all together. And they learn from each other, and it's really helpful. So that would be my research project. That will be my pre-reading strategy that I will be giving them. They'll also be given, separate from this lesson, they'll be given some vocabulary that they'll see within the text. For example, they talk about a yarmulke, and they talk about a few other things that the students will not be familiar with, and they'll be very confused if they don't learn about them. So they'll be given vocabulary they'll have to learn, because this is such a sensitive subject for a lot of people, I would do some journal entering throughout their reading experience so that they can privately get some of their thoughts out. But I would also like to have open discussions where I am not the center of the room. I know that in middle school, usually it's the teacher at the head of the room, but I like to do an open circle and have the students talk to each other. And me not be the focus because then students see that you're the person giving them all the information and they're very reluctant to give their own. So I would like to do some circles throughout where the students talk to each other and they talk about what's going on in the book and they talk about humanity, and humanity is going to be a huge piece in this because I think humanity was such a huge thing in the Holocaust where a lot of people lacked humanity, and then we saw examples where there was a lot of humanity, just like we see in this book. So I think it's really important for that to be the focus. But obviously there'll be some writing pieces throughout, and I'd like to do some other activities that really get the history involved. And if I could somehow do a cross-curriculum thing where the history teacher is involved in social studies, that would be really cool too. So I'm looking into some ideas. I don't have anything concrete yet. But basically that is the gist of my unit. So thank you.